right, so today we are going to be going over how to conduct this comparative market analysis, a CMA, and this is pretty much going to be used in two instances. One, which we kind of discussed before we started recording, is whenever we're working with a seller, right, and we want to let them know what the market value of their home is. And then two, whenever we're working with a buyer, and we just want to make sure that when we put our offer together, that we are giving our buyers a fair price. So that'll help us understand whether their list price is the market value or not. If there's competition, then what we can do is we can go ahead and give the seller what they want. If there's no competition, then we can definitely go towards the market value or potentially even go underneath. And then, of course, whenever we're working with investors, so I guess three instances, investors, market value is the same instances with any other buyer, but also we can do a comparative market analysis to learn the rent. So we can do this with rental properties as well to help someone understand, like, okay, if you want to rent that property out, this is about how much the rents are going for in that area. So this is how much you could rent it for based on those properties. And then we can tell them, with the understanding of what their mortgage might be, this is going to be profitable or it's not going to be profitable. Now, that is something that will be in another video. We're going to keep it simple, keep it brief for this video, and just focus on property values. So I actually had an investor reach out to me recently. So let me see if I can pull up their email, and we're going to do a live CMA of this property here. So it was like 3 kings. Then we have comps for 107 Magnesium Street in Henderson, asking for 239,900. So we're gonna do 107 Magnesium Street. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna want to open up two browsers to make it simple. Two browsers in the MLS. All right, so go ahead and go to tax search, type in the house number and street. Make sure there's no spaces before or after that will impact the result. All right. So this is currently an active listing, and they're pretty much concerned with one, market value, but more so after repair value. So after they put in some repairs, if they were to go in there, replace the floors, replace the walls, or paint the walls, how much would the value be? And they might even do something with the countertops or cabinets, depending on how bad or how old they look. And that's just a specific client. So looking at these photos here, are these manufactured housings? Let's go to the tax again. Okay, so this is single family residential, so not manufactured. Only reason why I'm interested in that is because they are not interested in manufactured homes. So as you can see here, they have the paneling on the walls. This is very old, very prehistoric. This is more of like a southern thing. That could actually be wallpaper. Everything pretty old except for the oven looks like it's newer. Yeah, a lot of original stuff in there. Looks like a newer vanity. Definitely not an original vanity. I'm curious what the shower looks like. The shower tiles look like they may be newer. So you just kind of get a general idea. Paint is what it is. If it's a retail buyer, someone who wants to live in it, a lot of times it's hard for them to look past things like that. But as an investor, paint is a simple, simple fix. Wow. Yeah, definitely, definitely needs some work. Oh, here goes the shower. Okay, got some discoloration. The tiles do look newer, but not new by any means. It's like the washer, dryer is newer. Some kind of shed, some dirt, rusty looking patio. Okay. Hey, water heater's newer. That probably went out on them. So just kind of getting an idea of what's going on, what the scenario is. So now what we can do, now that we kind of have an idea of what this home looks like, we will go back to the tax and we're going to look at the characteristics. So here we see, of course, that it's a single family home and that it is 1 story. So let me backtrack here. So we'll work it from left to right. When we're looking at comps for a property, we're going to start with all the active listings. We want to see all the coming soon listings, all the under contract listings. Now, this is the first one where it gives us a back date, right? Whenever we use back dates on anything, sold listings, under contract listings, we always want to keep it recent and relevant. So we're going to keep it within 90 days to start. And these are all general guidelines. And then based on the amount of comparables that we have, we may tweak certain things. Contingent on sale, same thing, 90 days. And these are just the homes that are under contract with a buyer who's selling their property and they bought it contingent upon selling their home. So it's a whole drawn out process. Under contract, no show, same as under contract show, simply an option by the seller, but sometimes the shows might have I guess, a less strong buyer sometimes. Then we're also going to want to look at the solds. Those are probably one of the most important groups for us to see because we can see what something's listed for, but we really want to know what it actually sold for. And then we saw that it was a single family residential, so we're going to go ahead and pick the same category. And story, we saw that it was a 1 story home, so we want to compare 1 stories with 1 stories and 2 stories with 2 stories is a general rule. So we don't compare apples and oranges. The year built, we'll be mindful of this, but we don't have to put this into the factor. We're going to look at bedrooms and baths. So 3 beds and 1 full bath. Generally, we do go by the tax, but I'm still going to take a peek at the actual listing because sometimes they might not count something as a bedroom if it doesn't have a closet, which is materially true in Vegas, but sometimes they might have a room that they would count as a bedroom. So 3-1. See, so here it says there's 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. So we'll go ahead and go with that. So we'll say it's a 2-1. And then also this may be outdated, right? So they might have done a renovation or you never know the scenario. That's why I just look at both. And then you can include the plus sign. You can definitely keep it rigid to where it's only 2 and only 1, but I'll start off more like this and then I'll see what really pops up. But generally speaking, apples to apples, oranges to oranges. So I wouldn't compare it to a 3 bedroom unless there weren't very many 2 bedrooms. And then last entry is going to be the square foot. So the approximate living area. And we're going to use the building square foot. So we want to compare, generally speaking, 500 below and 500 above. So here's going to be 420 to 1420. All right. And now we just want to make sure that it is in a certain mile radius of the property that is our subject property. So we can start off today with half a mile. Of course, the closer the better. If it's in the actual same subdivision, those are the best comps usually. But we'll start off within half a mile and see how close or how open we want to get it. 107 Magnesium Street. So within half mile of, boom. So we have 14. And first thing I do is I look at the map because oh, looks like I have to refresh the search. Goodness. Make me redo the search. It's all good. So I'll just jot all that stuff in there really quickly. So it'll do that every now and again. If you have two browsers open on the MLS, sometimes it will invalidate one of your browsers and you'll just have to retype it in. Usually it will remember in your recent searches, but today it's acting brand new. Cool. So next thing that I'll do is I'll go ahead and open up the map. One important thing to note is that you never want to consider properties that cross over any interstate or highway. So we don't really want this property over here. And honestly, because there's so many properties, I could probably narrow this down a little bit. Let's go for maybe 4. Just use my little polygon. And I just excluded that shape. You could easily just tighten the space again and go for 0.35 mile radius, but we'll start here. So 107, this is the actual listing, the actual property. I like to see if there's anything that's the exact same square footage, because usually that'll tell you that it's the same model. This one actually doesn't have the exact same square footage or the same model. And believe it or not, there's not very many two bedrooms here. So there's not a lot directly to compare it with. But this magnesium here is similar, about 100 less square foot, same bedroom count. It's sold at 9 days on the market. So the floors were similar. Condition is kind of similar, honestly. Countertops look maybe a little better in this one. Oh, wow. Drywall was ripped out. So even with the ripped out drywall, I mean, minus them not having appliances, the condition is fairly similar. The condition of our property is kind of jacked up. So 235 because it sold it for that price and it closed literally this month a few days ago. I would say is a pretty fair indicator of the market value. I'm not mad at the extra, 5,000. You could just say some of the appliances added to it and it's close. It's within reason. Uh Now I'll tell you the simple way to do the comp after I show you a little bit more of an in-depth analysis of it. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at specific properties that are very, very comparable first. And let's see. So realistically speaking, if this were a listing, I would go based off of this home right here, because it's the only two bedroom. But another alternative way to go about it, right? Let's say that they were all two bedrooms and there was a bunch of them. What you could do is go ahead and pick 3 to 4 of your active listings. Pick your 3 to 4 or however many uh, under contract listings, and then you could pick 3 to 4 of your sold listings, right? And you'll be looking to keep it relatively similar in your year built, as well as all the other aspects, right? So assuming that they're all 3 bedroom, then we would do something like this. And then you would go to CMA, comparative market analysis. We'll skip this part. You can choose whatever pages you want. Usually I'll pick the cover sheet with a photo, keep all the subject adjustments in there, all the comparables. The static is just kind of like the importance of not overpricing your home, activity versus timing. It's just a bunch of extra stuff, but it's still good information for the seller to know. They probably will never look at it as long as you compare, as long as you explain it very thoroughly. Subject property, you could put the subject property in there for the comparables. I'm just kind of breezing through it. So I would just take the MLS number, copy paste it in there, and then the photo should auto populate. I'll do that. It's not too difficult. Boom. So it auto populates the picture and some of the information. And then we look at the comparables here. So you can always make adjustments. So for example, if any of these had a pool, I would then have to go in or choose to go in. So for example, this one has a garage. So I'd be mindful of this. And if I really wanted to, I could Google how much does a garage impact the purchase price of a home, right? And then it'll tell me a certain percentage. Then I could say subtract, I'll do the math on the calculator and I'll say, okay, subtract whatever that percentage is from the purchase price. We're just gonna guesstimate and say that it took off 10,000, right? Like this isn't what I actually do. I'll look up the percentage and I'll calculate it and then I'll put it in there. But this is just for example purposes. And then pool is usually the only time that I really do this. So let's say, I don't know, 7% or something like that. One of them had a pool, then I'll subtract that. Then, whenever we are looking at the market value of a home, assuming that they were all, right, the same bedroom count, this one didn't have it. So I would go about it in my initial approach that I was discussing with that one comparable property. But assuming that there was a bunch of 2 bedrooms in there and they were more comparable, then I would do the multi-select, and we're going to look at the median value. So the median value of the comparable properties is the best determiner for the market value of a home, not the average, but the median. So in this example, it would have put this at 264 before I made the adjustment for the garage, but 259 after the adjustment for the garage. And this is just an example, of course. I wouldn't use all these properties in my comparative market analysis unless they were all the same bedroom count. So, boom, here would have been, well, the after adjustment would have been the market value. Now, this is in the easier properties where areas where homes are moving more and you have more data that's more comparable. But as I was saying earlier on in the example, because all these have different bedroom counts, this is the only two bedroom, I would not do it that way. And I would instead literally just use this property. And there's times where I might only look at the subdivision. I might not even do that big of an area. But just as a general rule of thumb and a general introduction to get you guys, on your way and doing it, this is a great way to go about it. The way where I multi-selected and then did the median value. So working with buyers, that's sufficient. Working with sellers, and this is where you would be a little bit more exact and you would just use this comp. So with that being said, the market value comp, the best market value comp is this one. So I'll tell them market value is around 235 to 240. I'll give that to them. Now, they were curious what the after repair value is on this one. Well, actually, they said the comps. So it looks like our job here is done until they ask for the after repair value. So boom, that's a wrap. So
So
Laura,
in that link sends them that one cover page that you did with all that information, right? That's what that link does.
so that link was literally with this property, but if I were to
Okay.
go back into the CMA, what the CMA would do is it will create a PDF. So we would be seeing a PDF of it.
Okay.
So once you're done, finish. If my computer will cooperate, there we go. And you can view CMA and it'll literally like pop up a PDF in your browser. Then you can save it to your computer, send it via email, or you can press email CMA and you can send it directly uh, through your MLS. I generally prefer to view CMA, download it, then send it, only because I like to have the record of it. Usually it will save all your files in the MLS, but I don't know. That's just the way I prefer to do it. That way, too, I have a record of it in my emails because the emails that you do send through your MLS usually get drowned out over time because we're sending multiple clients automatic emails. So let's say someone I met at an open house, I sent them the properties. I'm not sure. I can't remember what their email address was. You're probably not going to find it in your MLS history unless you look really hard. But if you were to go to your email browser, then you could just type in the subject of whatever, and it would pop up. So I'll do that just so you can kind of see exactly how it would look. So view CMA. And if your computer is anything like mine, it'll take its time. And then all you would do is you can press this download button and just send it as regular. Boom. So that is how you do a CMA the simple way. is just to go ahead and do the median approach. So any more questions based on what I went over today? Pretty
No,
simple.
no, pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory.
Cool, cool. So what I'll do is I'll save this video, upload it to the YouTube channel, and then we could definitely build on this. But as you guys begin to work with buyers, I just wanted to make sure you guys were equipped.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure. That must be one right there.
Oh,
My guy.
finally.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, Juan? How you feeling?
Doing well, dude. Doing well. How about you guys?
Oh, excellent, man. Excellent. So we just wrapped up. I just pretty much went over how to do a CMA. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and download the video. Here, let me actually stop the recording.